We have seen in previous video, if I stop this instance, its public IP will be gone. It will release that public IP. It goes back to the AWS pool. When I power it on, I get a new public IP. But sometimes you need static IP, like all the time for a particular instance. In that case, you can go with Elastic IP. Elastic IP are static dynamic IPs. You can get that in network and security. Go to Elastic IP, this section. You get 5 Elastic IP per region. As long as it's attached to this instance, you won't get billed. But if it's not attached to the instance, there will be charges. Even if the instance is stopped, powered off, the Elastic IP gets detached and then the charges start. So you'll be charged if you have reserved an IP and not using it. Then only you'll be charged. So all you need to do is say allocate new address, say allocate, and there you go. I got a Elastic IP. Okay, it's a random IP that I got from AWS pool, but this is static. It's not going to change. I reserved it for my account. And now I can attach it to the instance. So action, associate address. So Elastic IP can be attached to the instance directly, or you can select the network interface. Every instance that you launch will have a network interface. So you can have 2 network interface, and both network interface can have different Elastic IP. That also you can have. But I'm going to directly attach it to the instance and select the instance name. You can see the instance name and ID. You see, tagging is so important. It will help you like this when you're selecting your instances. So that's all you need to do. Click on associate. And now you will see the public IP of our instance would have been changed to the Elastic IP. So that's your instance ID. Click on it. And you come back here to your instance and you see now you have this as Elastic IP. Now even if I stop it, I power off. I'll say yes, stop. So you see instance is stopped, but the public IP is still the same. It did not change. And even if I power it on, it will be the same. That's the benefit of Elastic IP. Elastic IP are static public IP. And you can have 5 Elastic IP per region. It will be charged if you are not associated your Elastic IP to an instance. So if you have Elastic IP that's underlying and you're not using it, it's better you release it. So my instance is running, and that's the Elastic IP. I can go back to my Elastic IP to disassociate and release this Elastic IP. Action, disassociate address, which will disassociate the Elastic IP with the instance. Okay, disassociated, but now I started getting bill. Okay, so what I'm going to do, action, release address. So go back to AWS pool. All right. So that's the concept of Elastic IP. And if you're wondering 5 are too less, then don't worry. You're not going to give static IPs or public IP to all the instances. Most of your instances are going to be in the private network that you will learn in VPC. But by the time we don't start VPC, you'd be using all public network. Along with the Elastic IP or the public IP, your instance will have a private IP. This is for internal communication. If I have 2 instances over here, they want to interact with each other, then we can use private IP. Let's see that with some demonstration. So I'm going to launch one more EC2 instance now. Launch instance, and let's select the same CentOS 7 just to keep things simple for now. Continue. T2 micro, default storage, tags, name. I will give name as connection test. Configure security group, and I'm going to create a different security group for this instance. I'll say contest -sg, and I'm going to say 22 from my IP is allowed. Review and launch, and I'm going to use the same key pair. Okay, so I'm going to log in with the same private key to this instance also. Okay, instance is getting launched. Okay, instance is up and running. Now I'm going to log into this instance, Earth Web 01, and from there I'm going to log into this instance, connection test. You know, I should really change that name. I'm not liking it. Let's give name as Mars. Okay, so first let's log into Earth Web 01. So SSH-I downloads, key name, username CentOS @IP of Web 01, Earth Web 01, logged in there. Hello, also sudo -i. Okay, now from here I want to log into this Mars instance. So I don't need to use the public IP of Mars there. I am going to use the private IP. That's internal communication. So SSH CentOS okay. Here's one problem. We don't have, actually we have two problems, which I'm going to explain you now. This is what we're doing this exercise for. To log into this instance, I need the key. And second thing is the security group rules. So first, let's check the security group rule. So let's click the security group of Mars instance, inbound, and it says 22 is allowed from my IP, but I have to say 22 is allowed from Earth QA Web. Where is that? Yeah, that one, Earth QA Web security group. So what this will do is it simply allows connection, allow SSH 22 connection from Earth Web 01 instance. Earth Web 01 instance is in this security group. So I'm saying any instance that is in this security group can access this instance on port 22. Or if you want, you can directly give the private IP of Earth Web 01 here. That also we can do. So I have not saved any rule. Let's go back to our instance. Let's get the private IP of Earth Web 01 and let's go to Mars security group. Now I will say in the Mars security group, port 22 is allowed from this particular instance /32. So now this instance can access this instance on port 22. Inbound rule. The traffic that is coming towards this instance, towards Mars. The connection is coming towards Mars from Earth Web 01. So we edited the rule of Mars security group from Earth Web 01. So you can directly give an IP or you can give the security group of that instance. That also will work. So now since we have enabled the firewall rule, now we will try it. We'll log into our Earth Web 01 instance and from there we'll log into Mars. What I'm saying, let me repeat that again. From Earth Web 01, I will log into Mars instance, internal SSH connection. So here I am on Earth Web 01 instance. Just to confirm, you can check the IP address show. So that's the private IP of Earth Web 01. Check that. 21. Okay. No, we're in wrong. No, hold. Yeah, sorry. Earth Web 01. 25.170. Yes, we are on Earth Web 01. From here we will log into Mars. So let me copy the IP, private IP of Mars, and I will say SSH CentOS @ yeah, there is a connection, but it is failing for the authentication because I need to pass the key. So I'm going to exit from here and copy the SSH key, and that's how you're going to copy it. First, SCP, for SCP you have to give the authentication, which is earth. Yeah, so this key is for authentication. Now you're going to copy a file, which is again the key. For Mars we are using the same key, right? To CentOS @ now this is an important exercise. It may look a little complicated, but this will help you understand how two instances connect to each other and how are you going to log in, how are you going to jump. :home/home/CentOS. and later we'll see jump server, how we'll set up a jump server. From there we'll log into all the other instances. So this is a preparation for you so you can easily understand the rest of the exercises. So key is copied. I have copied that key to that instance, and the key that you see over here, this is for authentication. Okay, SCP authentication. Now SCP uses SSH, so same key works. Let's log in back. Okay, now you see the key there. Now we'll use that key to log in. SSH-I CentOS @ and the private IP of Mars. Yes. Okay, it says the key has to be of 400 permission. Let's try once again. Right, see, now I'm logged into Mars. Check that IP 2183. See there? So this may look complicated. If it is supposed to be. Try this exercise, do it multiple times until unless you get the idea. You update the security group rule, you get familiar with enabling connection between two instances. So try this exercise multiple times. Now I'm going to exit from all the instances. Exit and come out. Now last thing in this video, we know how to create user in Linux system, and once we have the user we can log into the instance with that user. But by default, key based authentication will be allowed, password based authentication will be disabled. So now we'll do one exercise where we'll set up a user on our EC2 instance and we'll log into EC2 instance with that user and its password. So first let's log into our instance, earthweb01, and I'm going to set up a user here. User add, user named as, let's see, I'll just say dev1, that's the username. Let's set up a password for this user, dev1. Okay, user is set up now, and I have set the password also. Now let me exit from this and back to my system. Okay, now instead of logging with the key, I will log in with this username and password. Let me try that. Dev1, right? Okay, I'm going to get an error. This is because key based login is only enabled, password based authentication is disabled, so I cannot log in with the password. So what I have to do is I have to enable password based authentication. I open up the file etc ssh sshd-config, and I'm going to look for a section password authentication. There, that section, it says no. I'm going to turn it to yes, and this is not good, but sometimes you need to do this. Key based logins are always safe. Service sshd restart. So we have changed the configuration of SSH, so we need to restart that service. Okay, that is done. Now let me exit and exit. Now let's try that again. So SSH dev1@IP, and now it is asking me password. I enter the password and logged in with the password now. Always key-based authentication are going to be safer, but if you want a password-based authentication, you need to make changes. All the AMI or most of the AMI will have password authentication disabled. So if you want it, you have to enable it. So that's great. We have seen few very nice things in this video, which comes as a day-to-day practice in AWS about Elastic IP, how to connect two instances, how to jump between two instances, and also add a user and log in with the password to the EC2 instance. So that would be all in this video. In the next video, we'll be talking about the storage. Thank you for watching this one. I'll see you in the next video.